Hello, good people. Hello, good people. Yes, the volume is up. Hello, good people. Hello, good people. Welcome in all part two. Part two. Yes, the machines. Welcome in, everyone. Happy Sunday. Grand Rising. A great day to be alive. Of course, any day. This live is sponsored by Rooted in Essential Oils. Rooted in Essential Oils is the sponsor of this live. His link is in the chat, folks. His link is in the chat. Go and check him out. Plant-based and natural living products that he gives us training and education on over there on his channel. Of course, the link is in the chat. All that good stuff rooted in essential oils. Essential oils, household cleaning products, etc. Rooted in Essential Oils is the sponsor of this live. Go and check out his channel, folks. Go and check out his channel. He does go live. He will have upcomings. He goes live at different times, but definitely go over there and check out his content. He is growing over there. Great information about the products that he sells. And of course, as always, check the description box. Check the description box where you can get some savings. This is a budgeting channel after all, folks. After all, rooted in essential oils. Wow, it's an early morning, folks. I have had one cup of coffee thus far. Need another one or two. I don't need the coffee to begin with, but nonetheless, here we are. But of course, a great day to be alive, as always. As always. Of course, as most of you all know, I was doing the silent live until the machines, but nonetheless, I am here for part two of the topic, and then it may venture off into other things. So it may start with other things and then venture off into the topic. Who knows? Who knows? But here I am. Hopefully your weekend went well, folks. Hopefully your weekend went well. Hopefully you stayed on budget. Hopefully you stayed on budget. That is very key and critical to the topic at hand and just in life and of itself, managing our money well, better, etc. And I am I am right there with you and with the others that are trying to, with the others that have been there prior and they have made great strides and have gotten their picture together. But yeah, I am right in there with you trying to be better with the money, get things situated, done, paid off, etc. Right in the thick of things with you all and others. So yeah. During the silent live AI Spiller Girl TV, we were, interacting with regards to hello, hello there, AI Spiller Girl TV, hello there, with regards to rental rates being high, all that good stuff, and yeah, and she was saying, and of course I agree that ownership is the best thing if that works for you. We'll just say everything is showing in here, but that's okay. That's my fan. Everything is showing, but yeah, ownership is the best option. The best option, and some people just do not want to own a home for whatever reasons, and it could be lots of reasons and good reasons also. And two, a lot of people just do not want to have to deal with that. Maybe they've seen other people and what other people went through, and they learned about what other people went through. They don't want that. And like I said, other reasons that they may have. Some people may not want to own because they don't want to have to do all the maintenance work that is required or pay someone to do any type of maintenance work that is required and the replacement of stuff, etc. But I'll get into that as I go along. But back to the weekend and you're making sure that your money is good for whatever it is that you have, whatever plans it is that you have for now in the short term, like within the next year or whatever you consider short term. And for the long term, 3 to 5 years out or 5 to 10 years out, etc. And I know a lot of people do not plan that far in advance. Trust, I have not. Just almost day to day, but sometimes, I can get a year out, etc. I'm telling you, the mindset shift, it is a process and it takes time, folks, and it takes time. and trust. There are a whole lot of things. If you start listing out all of the things that you would like to do with regards to this subject or anything else that you, even the planning of your budget, etc., how you're going to spend your money, that may be writing it all down, 10, 15 minutes, etc., depending. How you're going to accomplish some of the things that you want to accomplish, that may be, like I said, a bit time consuming, but well worth it, well worth it. But it is a process. It will take time because that isn't the only thing that you have to do. You have to get up, go to work, etc., do all these things, interact with your children, take care of your children, interact with your spouse if you have one or significant other, etc., friends and family that need and want your attention. And if you have that type of energy with your friends and family, that you are communicating with them a lot and there's lots of good energy there, there's lots of good vibes there, then that is a great thing. You're doing that also in two. So focusing on one thing is not, it's just not going to happen for the majority of us, So yeah, but yeah, we have to be mindful of the coins. And of course, as I know, and as you all know, if we start to do some of these things or learn, it would be great if we learn from our parents and we were able to start doing some of these things more sooner than later, learn about personal finance, budget, saving money, investing, the value of owning property uh, for yourself, home ownership or rental property, etc. All of that good stuff, and a whole host of other things, investing, stocks, bonds, and the whole gamut. I am not a financial consultant, personal financial consultant, financial advisor, any of that stuff. God knows, not a lawyer. If you're looking to me for legal advice, you are going to be under the jail. So YouTube, this is just for entertainment purposes only, entertainment purposes only. But if you start to do those things and learn those things early on, then when you get to an age where you can, of course, establish credit in your own name and start buying things under your own name, etc., you are going to be way well ahead of the game. And some of these things is not going to be an issue, not something you're going to have to write down on your list that you have to get squared away, like your credit if you were doing things, that was not so good. And now your credit rating, your credit score is bad, etc. You're not having to go back and fix and repair that stuff. If you learn how to do all the things, all at the right way, and you got the information. But yeah, the rent is high everywhere. And I remember, he was from New York. I know he was from New York. And I think he was running for president. You know how you have one of those candidates, like, I'm running for president, and they really don't have any, they don't have like a setup or anything like that, backing or anything like that. But he was right. He was saying the rent is too, cuss word, high, that starts with a D. And it was high then in New York, and it will always continue to be high, in my opinion. But now we are finding that the rent is high everywhere, everywhere that we go, that we can't escape it. Even in the South now, the rent has gotten high, 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 exponentially high. Oh God, I moved my hand sanitizer. It's okay. All right. All right. But yeah, the rent is high everywhere, folks. The rent is high everywhere. And at some point, I think some people may, depending, on their situation, some people may start saying, hey, if I am paying this much in rent, if I added a few more couple of $100, etc., and I had a good down payment, etc., I could own a home for the same that I am renting, or just a little bit more than my renting something. And yeah, that is true. That is true. And if you're able to manage, if you really plan and think it through, like, okay, why am I paying $2,500 to rent, this 3-bedroom house, they're renting the house, where I can, get my own home and pay the same or less, depending on the down payment and a whole host of factors, etc. And I can own my own home. And trust and believe there are lots of first-time home ownership programs out here. Of course, it is going to require research. It is going to require research, folks. Yes. So I'm going to get into some of the little notes that I wrote down. Renting or owning, which is right for you. And of course, each person has to decide what is going to be right and good for them. Of course, a lot of things happen like a moment in time. At this particular moment, maybe you or the next person cannot afford to get into any more debt. Your debt is so heavy that you know that when they go and put your credit report that you're going to be out of your debt to income ratio. I think that's how they describe it. That's probably one aspect, and I don't know how big of a role or factor rather it plays in the whole thing or not. I guess if you had enough money for a down payment, that can be overcome, and maybe you do a few other things. Maybe the bad debt to income ratio that you have could be overcome with the down payment and other things. But nonetheless, your debt is too high right now. So you're not going to, get into more debt or stress yourself out saying, oh, I want to get a home knowing I got all of this debt, all of these bills, etc. You're not going to do that. Whatever is happening with a person at a particular moment in time to where they cannot, it is not a good time at this moment for me to even consider or try to purchase a home, then it is what it is. So just because you may be the caregiver for someone and you just can't go buy a home because you're utilizing some of your funds for that particular effort. You may have numerous children in college and all of your money is going to that. And of course, they're getting student loans and you're signing for private loans, et cetera, to help them out. A whole host of things could be going on in your life or maybe coming into your life in the coming years to make it so where you're deciding that home ownership is not a good thing, not a good something for you to pursue at that particular moment in time. And of course, people's situation change to where if they do see a way then and they want home ownership, they are going to go and do that. They are going to go and do that. So timing is always critical. And of course, the money is always a big component because you will be getting a loan. And of course, as with anything, writing down for yourself, because everyone's situation is different. Writing down for yourself the pros and cons of home ownership is a helpful something to do. And just in general, all the pros and cons, and for your own self, what would be the pros and cons for you and your family to own or not own a home at that particular moment in time? What are the pros and cons for that? And there are lots of them. Hello, beautiful Dawn. How are you? How are you? Thanks for being here. Two emoji limit in the chat. Two emoji limit in the chat. Thank you so much. How is your morning going, Dawn? How is your morning going? How's the young man doing? I think it's a young man. How's the young man doing? How is the young man doing? How is the young man doing? Yeah, so this is part two. I forgot to put part two on there, but I'll go back and change it. Part two to the first live, part two, home ownership. So writing down the pros and cons. I wrote some down. Of course, one is you will actually own the home. Even if you don't buy the home outright, when you're filling out paperwork, etc., they said, "Do you own your home?" And you will mark yes, even if you are still making mortgage payments and trust. Just saying you own a home has psychological and emotional attachments to it. And if you do own your own home, even if you own your own car, etc., it has an emotional attachment to it because you went and you purchased out the home. The car, you went and you purchased a car, you made all the payments. All the payments are done. The car is yours. But while you are making the payments, you still own the car until something happens to where you don't. And we know what that is. We don't need to go into that. Great, great that you and your son are feeling supreme. No worries on the emojis. It's a new YouTube rule. Trying to follow the rules over here as best I can. As best I can. Don't want to have to go back and, you know, find where people put in three or more emojis later on in this whole evolution. But glad that you are doing well. You and your son are doing well, Dawn people. Dawn people. Glad that you are doing well. But yeah, psychological, emotional benefits to saying that you own your own car, your home, boat, motorcycle, etc. You own it free and clear, or if you are still making payments, like I said, when you're filling out paperwork, it says, do you own your home? And you would check the block, yes, that you own your home. Uh, of course, a home, you build up equity in the home. And with that equity over time, and I wrote them down on here, but we all know like a big one is a big one. Well, in my brain, the first one should be you can utilize the equity to buy other property, other real estate, i.e., rental property, so that you can rent, get the proceeds from the rental, etc. And you all know where it is that I am going. I don't have to I'll be preaching to the choir if I was to explain it. And the other thing is it can be utilized to help pay for either your own college or your child or children's college also in too. But of course, like I've said before, there are plans. I mean, there are your children, they're 18, 19, 20, etc. And they have their whole lives ahead of them. So if they were or needed to go into debt, i.e., get some student loans, etc., then they have their whole lifetime to pay that off. Where you may be at a particular point in your life where, you're looking at the other side, if you get what I'm saying. The next thing for you may be retirement, from your job, and then thereafter, all that comes thereafter. So yeah, and not that I am advocating for people to go into debt to get student loans. In this scenario, like I said, you can utilize the equity in your home if you want to assist your children with their college education. How much of that you do or tap into, etc., is on you, the parent, etc., and so forth. But they are young, and if they do decide that they want to get student loans, etc., or you don't want to take out any equity in your home to help them with that, then they have their whole lives to pay for that. Of course, if you taught them from when we talked about before about personal finance, which includes a whole host of stuff, student loan, college student loan is one, then they will know either to do it, not to do it, or things to do to, lessen that load on themselves as much as possible. But that is home ownership will afford you the opportunity to tap into your equity to pay for, your child or children's college education if you desire to do so. And of course, if we plan and really think about it, the home can be, and sometimes is, our first entree into generational wealth building or just wealth building in of itself. Now, for the generational part, once you're down the road and you actually pay your home off in full, in total, no more mortgage payments or anything like that, then generational wealth, i.e., passing the home on to your children, if you so desire to do that. So I'm just going to keep it on the children because you can do a whole host of things with your home, give it to a charity, etc., a whole host of things. But if your goal, or if it is your desire to pass it on to your children for generational wealth, trust and believe that is something that I would be talking with my children about. And of course, your children, you will have some idea whether this may, at a moment in time, be the right thing for you to do with regards to generational wealth, passing down your paid off home to your children or not. You will know. But that is one of the things that home ownership can't afford a person over time, passing down their home, generational wealth, building a legacy. And yeah, and this is a topic for a whole nother time, but briefly, we have to we have to make sure that our children really and fully understand what it is that we are doing when we are giving them this asset. All of the things that have been afforded to us with regards to having home ownership will be afforded to them once we are gone, and that asset, the home, is passed down to them. And we want to make sure that they are utilizing it properly. Of course, it would be our hope that they would pass the home down to their children, or maybe they will have the home become a multi-generational home, if that is the case, so that their children can live there. And if it is the case that their children, meaning their grandchildren, come and live there also in too, then if that is the case, then that is the case, and that will be a good thing. But the education that you're giving your children, it is one is hoping that it's passed down to, your grandchildren and further, 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 so that they know about personal finance, keeping that home in the family, which is what you would tell them that, your grandmother and grandfather, etc., would have wanted for the family to keep it going on, so that all the people that come through here, what it could be cousins and other people that may come there for a moment in time, if they fall on hard times or something, that this is the place. We're going to keep it in the family. We're going to keep it up, and we're going to put all the rules and regulations, etc., also into there. And yeah, that would be ideal. That would be ideal, to have the home just be utilized for, for the folks in the family that are needing it, etc. And it goes on and on and on. Yeah, that would be a great thing. Legacy building, a legacy building. Of course, the tax benefits that happen year to year, especially when you first get the home, etc. And hopefully you have other things that you can ride off to. Those things look good. Uh, yeah, and like I was just mentioning, I wrote it on here, but I just talked about it, with the equity that you can tap into from home ownership. You can change the trajectory of your family. But everyone has to be in the know. Everyone has to have buy-in into the whole process. This is just me saying how I would go about it, etc. Because you're working and doing all of this to pay the home off, rightfully so, because it is something that you yourself wanted. It is something that you yourself wanted. And if you pass it on to your kids, like I said, your kids, but you have to tell them all the stuff that comes with it. And then when their children come along, they need to tell their kids all the stuff that comes with it. You don't want, like, these flighty children that are just out here. They are into just spending, buying stuff just so they can look good or impress someone, and a whole host of foolishness, etc. No, you're passing it down to your child. If they have children, if they want to tap into the equity to pay for their kids' college education, something that they can do. Of course, you'll be long gone. You won't have any any say in it. But of course, know that, of course, it is money. It's money that you have to pay back, and you want to make sure that that kid is doing what it is that they're supposed to be doing, because you don't want to lose the asset. In order to change the trajectory of your family, the one thing in this scenario is the home, and the home is going to be the foundation, the building block for all the other things that you are able to hopefully attain and get. Because if you're tapping into the equity, that is going to help you, but you have to use it right. You have to use it in the right way. You have to use it in the right way. Of course, like I mentioned before, of course, you can tap into the equity to buy. This is some of the pros. Tap into the equity to buy other rental property, so that you can keep the thing going, passing that down also into, or have your children go live in the rental property and pay rent there also into. I'm not saying it has to be the whole thing, but at least 90% of it. Thought I'd throw that in there, but nonetheless, nonetheless, uh, buying rental property, the value of owning real estate is key, critical. It's all over the internet, folks. It's all over the internet. And I'm sure that you have heard stories, the good stories with regards to it, and possibly some of the bad, but just in general, over time, uh, the, the value of a home pretty much maintains. Of course, it's up and down. But if you stay the course, just like when you're investing, if you stay the course, and more times than not, you will come out on the other side ahead. Yeah. I talked about the college thing, and also you can tap into the equity to help your children with the down payment for their home. Of course, if you tap into the equity, then you're going to do some type of refinance, or maybe some other program that they have out here. And and here you are now. You have set up your children with home ownership, or help them. Yeah, you have helped them with that. You have helped your children with home ownership, and that is a good thing. And now they can go on about their business, and voila. What else? Some other pros, of course, for your home. You can most of these places have the HOA, which is a con in my opinion, but it is what it is. We have one here, etc. But you can add on to your home extra rooms, bathrooms, full rooms. You can, if you live in a single family home, then you had some land or something, you can maybe put other types of dwellings out there depending on your state and your local rules, etc. All of that into. Of course, if you have a fixed payment, then you know what your monthly mortgage is going to be. And of course, when you are searching out a mortgage, etc., lots of information online with regards to that. If you are searching out a mortgage online, there are lots of them out there. You got the fixed, you probably have ARMs, and who knows what else they have nowadays. Of course, as with anything, be very careful when you are researching things. Be very careful when you are researching things. Be very careful when you are researching things. And of course, I mentioned the emotional and psychological benefits that one personally derives from owning a home. And of course, you have control over your home. Unlike renting, you have control of the things that happen inside of your house, what you can do inside of your house. You can paint the walls differently every day, every month, every year, etc. Something that you can't do. Did I write down some cons? Yes, I did write down some of the cons. Once again, this live is sponsored by Rooted in Essential Oils. Rooted in Essential Oils. Go and check out his channel, folks. The link is in the chat. The link is in the chat, folks. Go and check out Rooted in Essential Oils. Check that description box. There's a code, always a code or a way that you can save some coins over there if you buy the essential oils and the other household cleaning products, humidifiers, etc., and some healthy drinks over there also too that he is promoting and selling on his channel. Rooted in Essential Oils. His link is in the chat. Go and check him out. Go and check him out. Yes. Welcome in, everyone. Thanks for hitting the like button, folks. Thanks for hitting the like button. And shout out to the replay crew. Shout out to the replay crew. Shout out to the replay crew. So some of the cons that I wrote down, and there are plenty. There's more than what I have here. There's more than what I have here with regards to owning a home. The property taxes, and that may be included in one's mortgage also in two. So just be mindful of that. If it isn't, then that is a separate bill that you will have to pay, however often your state requires it. The maintenance costs, unlike renting, they are responsible for everything that happens in your home. Of course, if you don't do something to contribute to that, to something happening there, but all the maintenance costs, any type of painting that they want to do, they will do it. And I guess if there's some landlords or rental companies that will allow you to paint, etc., maybe they allow you to paint the walls white or something, then that's fine and dandy too. If you want to do that, then great. But the maintenance costs, plumbing, getting a new door, anything that's happening within the apartment, then the rental property people will do that. The owners will do that. A con, if you have to move out of your home, you have a moving expense. And if you just want to move out because the neighborhood has changed in whatever way you deem that the neighborhood has changed. Hello, Heather, Chronic Condition Crafting. How are you? Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for coming in. And I think that you're going live over there on your channel also too shortly. Thanks for coming in, Heather, Chronic Condition Crafting. I do appreciate it. Yeah, so if you want to move out of your home, then you have that whole moving expense. And the same is if you were renting, but you probably have less when you're renting. But who knows? That whole expense, you are moving away from your home for whatever reason. Maybe you want to move to a different state. Maybe for health conditions, you might want to move down there to Florida. That's where the young at heart goes. Sometimes on our second home, we own. Renting is stressful, but has benefits. Yes, it has benefits. And for me, in my brain, I would get one of the, I think they call it a rental warehouse. I don't know around here, but a mortgage, a property management company to assist with that, etc. And of course, I would have to find out how all of that works, etc. But yeah, it has its benefits. You have a second home that you can tap into that equity also, and your own home that you can tap into that equity. And of course, you're getting the rental income, and hopefully it's enough to cover, the mortgage if you have one on the rental property itself, the property taxes if it's not included already, and any ancillary expenses. And then maybe you have 50, 20, 50, 60, or 80, $100 left that is actual profit that you're putting back into the thing, etc. Some people may get it sometimes confused when they think, oh, well, the whole amount of the rent is all of your money, etc. But if you have a mortgage there, then you have to pay that mortgage. But that's a whole topic for another time. But yeah, if you wanted to move out because your health, and you want to, because of your health or your spouse's health or both of your health or both people's health, then do that. Or the neighborhood change to where the crime is beginning to pick up a little bit more in your neighborhood or your surrounding neighborhood, etc. And you get a little fearful for your own safety and that of your children. You may want to move for that reason. Of course, we know that crime is everywhere, and it is what it is. But if you have it in your brain that the neighborhood has changed, too much crime for you, for your taste, for your liking, and you move, then the moving expense of that, for whatever reason you decide you want to move, that is an expense and you have to do it. And I mentioned the HOA, which we have here also too. I think a lot of people have that. And it sadly, it is what it is. And of course, one knows going into a neighborhood, a subdivision, a community, whether they have an HOA or not, and all of their rules, Please read that book, because if you have a business already that you were operating out of your home, depending on the type of business where you go into, where you decide you want to live, the HOA may say, no, you cannot have that type of business for whatever reason. So people, please be careful with that. Of course, as always, do your research and read all the pieces of paper that they put in front of you. Ask lots of questions. And a lot of times, and I know when I was purchasing this home that that wasn't happening. So when I know better, one will do better the next time around. And I can pass on information that I know. And of course, as always, lots of YouTube videos out here with information on how to buy a home, some of the things to do, not to do, taking your time, getting your credit together, et cetera, which is part of the spiel too. But yeah, HOA. And of course, when you're in your own home, if you're not, or if your husband isn't handy or anything like that, then you may find yourself having to contract out, call up handymen, etc., to come and do some of the painting, plumbing work, any and everything. You need a new door, etc., need new doorknobs put in, etc. And I get it, some of the things that you can follow the directions and do, but you know, sometimes you don't want to do it because you want the time. So you just hire someone to do it and you have the benefit of the time. So yeah, lots of that. But nothing beats one having great credit already to begin with. Having a great credit score to begin with is great. If you have been saving for your down payment, these are the ideal situation, folks. That didn't happen here. Having great credit, my credit was pretty decent. Having great credit, key. Having saved enough, a large portion for the down payment is going to be helpful also. And two, those are the two things that I can think of is going to be key. Of course, having some idea where you want to live, and this is where making a list is going to be helpful. How many bedrooms you want to have, bathrooms, et cetera, et cetera. Of course, you're going to check out a whole host of things. If you have children or plan to have children and you plan to stay in this place for a period of time, and once again, one never knows, a good school system, public school system in the area would be a ticket item, I would think, but it may not be to you because you might homeschool or send them to private school, etc. Having a list is a good thing. And like I said, all of this is a moment in time. Something may change in your work. Just a whole lot of things can happen at different times to where you may have to change something on your list, etc. So we just want to keep that in mind. All of these things are a snapshot in time. Hello there, Val at the Jury Spot. How are you? How are you? How are you? Thanks for being here. Thanks for coming in, Heather, and the AI Spirit Girl TV, the monitor. Thank you. And Val, the jury spot, the jury spot. Hello, thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. All I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. And thanks for hitting the like button. Thanks for hitting the like button. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. I am doing well, Val, the jury spot. How are you? How are you? Are you going live today, Val? Are you going live today? I know you like to get it done in the mornings, which is the same. The same. But yeah, lists are great. Lists are great. Great credit and saving for the down payment is going to be key and critical. Key and critical. It takes money, folks. It takes money. You know that that is going to be one of the questions. How much money do you have to put down? And the jury spot said probably. Okay. Okay. I will see you over there. Yeah, the money. It is what they're not going to give you the home for free. And I get it. And I get it. So I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on. Like I mentioned, I think at the top, there are lots of first time home buyers programs. There are lots of first time home ownership programs out here. You have to research, folks. You have to do your own research. Of course, you can ask friends and family that have homes like, hey, did you get into a first did you utilize a first-time home buyers program in order to purchase your home? And if so, what is the name of it so that I can research it and it may work for me, etc. Of course, Google is our friend. The internet, you know, YouTube and the internet at large, etc., will give you lots of information, but nothing to be asking your friends and family. Ask people at your job with regards to that. Just ask random people at the store. I don't even want to. I'm just kidding. I'm getting a little bit delirious. I'm getting a little bit delirious here. I need another cup of coffee. But yeah, asking the questions is going to be key and helpful. Just ask your friends and family. Hey, did you go through a first-time home owners program? So what was it? Let me know so I can go and research, etc. But of course, do your own research, and definitely you have to read all the fine print. Read all the fine print. Now I get it that when I was doing it, did not happen. But when you know better, you do better, and you can pass it on to others. But if you are thinking about purchasing a home a year out, or if it's one of your children, you may be thinking about tapping into your equity and purchasing a home for them, etc. And they know this, and you all talked about it over a period of time. And this is something that everyone has decided that we are going to do because they looked 3 and 4 years out, and the parents can manage the new payment that they're going to have here, etc. And you got that good kid that you know that okay, when they get into the home, they're going to make their payments, etc. Da 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 da, all that good stuff. But if you have the time, if you are a year out or 2 or 3 years out at this particular moment to where you are going to make a home purchase, then now is the time to gather lots of that information and reading and lots of that fine print while you have time. Don't have to be all at one chunk. Of course, having a list of all the things you want, all the things you need to do. If you have to get, if a part of your to do list involves, like I would say, the number one thing, getting your credit score together, getting your credit, making your payments on time, etc., getting that credit score, getting your credit rating up, then that is the one thing you need to put on the list that you need to do. Getting that down payment, working on the down payment, cash stuff in those envelopes or electronically, putting that money in to where you're building up the down payment, put that on the list because you will have time to do that. A year out, but definitely 2 or 3 years out, you will have enough time to do that. Hello there, Rosalie James. How are you? How are you? Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Welcome in. Welcome in all. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. But if you have time to, like I said, 1 to 3 years out to get all of the stuff together, lists are helpful. Lists are important. Of course, I am sure they have one on the internet that can tell you all the things you need to do in the process of home ownership and give you a list. But I'm sure there's something out there. Of course, the best list, in my opinion, will come from you because at that particular moment in time when you are writing, you know what it is that you would like to have, what you would like to have in your home, and what you need to do in order to accomplish that. And like I said, things change. They do every day. They do every day. But you'll be so further ahead. You will be so further ahead. And all the while you are talking with your significant other, your spouse, about all the things that you both plan and want to do and what it is that you all need to do. Keep paying those bills, keep paying those bills on time. Don't miss paying those bills, etc. Because you know that that is the first thing that they're going to look at, your credit. They're going to look at your credit. And then, like I said, sometimes if your credit isn't all that great, if you have a woo woo down payment, a big down payment or something, that may, ease the pain of the bad credit, etc. But don't get yourself into that situation. Continue to pay your bills on time. If you've got something on it that needs to be squared away in the 1 to 3 years, you can get that squared away, or you can get those things squared away. And I know that some people go and they, may want to get outside assistance with that, and that is great if that is what they want to do. But that money is going to be key, folks. That money is going to be key. There are plenty of calculators on here where you can go and even now, even if you're not thinking about getting a home, plug in how much you want to put down on a home, the cost of the home, and what you think your credit rating is, or if you know it, then I guess you can easily get it. Then you can see what your payment would be, etc. And it may give you a whole list of other things too, like what your property taxes would be, all of that good stuff. Lots of information out here, lots of information out here. But as with anything, planning is the key. Planning is the key. And for a lot of us, test case summit did not happen, did not happen, did not happen. And I wasn't the type like, oh, I just got to get a home. I wasn't that type of anything. Oh, I need this, this, and this, and this, and that. I wasn't that type. I just knew that home ownership was a thing. And I wanted to be in on that deal. I wanted to be in on that deal of, home ownership. Yeah. But of course, research, 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 research. Lots of first time home buyer programs out here. Lots of them, lots of them. Ask questions, ask friends and family, like I mentioned before. And hopefully they will share with you. And AI Spill It Girl TV, Regina and I was talking about it in the silent live. This is part 2 to the silent live that I was doing earlier about home ownership. And I had mentioned about, families that sometimes, I think she was mentioning about um, the mom leaving the home to all of 6 of her children, etc., so that there were no arguments, etc. And I was mentioning maybe on that part or some other part where, oh no, just even renting or home ownership, some family members or maybe even some siblings within the family are renting and some are owning, and it can cause a divide, especially if one side, like the home ownership folks, is just throwing stuff in their face like, oh, I own a home and you don't. That type of silliness, foolishness, and craziness, that is not needed. That is not needed. Knowing good and well, like keep it clean, knowing good and well that they rented before their lives also into, like, who do you think you are now? You are high and mighty. No, no, no. We don't need that type of thing in the community, or just at all, period. There's no need. There's no need for that. There's no need for that. There is no need for that. But sometimes it can cause a divide. It can cause a divide. And sometimes you just have to, uh, with that and other things within families, sometimes you got maybe just slowly, move yourself away for your own mental health, and maybe sometimes physical health or spiritual health, etc. You just have to slowly move away if that is what you need to do. We're still doing the high and binds, and when I'm around you, going to be nice and keep it to pleasantries, and just move on, bring up another conversation with somebody else, and go on about that day, etc. But sometimes even just renting and owning can cause division in families. Crazy to me, crazy to me. But yeah, lots of information, like I mentioned, to learn, educate yourself on, take in and digest at one time. So if you have that time if you have that time, the 1 to 3 year time frame that you would like to get yourself together, get that money together to get a home, then in my brain, that is enough time if you're taking it piece by piece by piece and following a list. The list is going to be helpful. Don't keep a list up here, God knows. Okay, is it that Wanda is adding something else to someone's plate today? I find out when I'm talking, I think I'm adding something to these mothers' plates, and uh, I am sorry, but here we go. I already mentioned about making a list of all the things that you want in your home. I mentioned that. Definitely run the numbers. Like I said, plenty of calculators out here, plenty of calculators out here, folks, so that you can get some idea what your mortgage will be if you decide to put X number of dollars down, your credit rating, and the cost of the home that you are looking for. And of course, if you go online and look at some of these places, the city or the state that you live in, and even the city where you live in, these homes are off the chain, astronomically high. And sometimes you're thinking it is out of reach for me. It is out of reach for me. It may be out of reach for you in the state and or the city that you live in, but it may be within reach for you if you move to another state. And of course, people will decide if they want to continue to live where it is that they live or not, etc. I'm not telling anyone to move just so you can own a home and be in this place and there's nothing going on in this place. I'm not telling anyone to do that. I am just giving commentary as to if it's not feasible or affordable for you here, and it is something that you really, really want, and you're willing to sacrifice some of the things that you have now in the place that you're living to go elsewhere and have little to zero of that, then that is a decision that each individual will have to make, we have to make, but definitely run the numbers. And I keep going back to if you got the time, the 1 to 5 years, you're running the numbers and you're running the numbers each year because where you decide you wanted to live the first time you do it may be different, in year two. Like in year two, you may wanted to live in, Ohio. Well, year one, Ohio. Year two, maybe Florida. Maybe year three, maybe Connecticut or wherever. So, but always just constantly run the numbers. And definitely you're going to have to be putting that money, saving that money off to the side, etc. Or if you have some cousin or something that's going to give you some money for free where you don't have to do a loan and all this other stuff, that is a great thing. Or some rich uncle that is going to fund the down payment or et cetera, then be putting that money off to the side for that. But definitely run the numbers so that you can always be aware of what it is that you need to do. If you need to do more with stuffing that cash in there, because the last time you ran it 2 months ago, and you're still in the 3 year thing, 2 months ago when you ran it and you had the 20% down, then now something happened, etc. You're thinking, okay, if I don't have the 20% to put down, what if I put down 15%? You run that number, then you see what your mortgage is going to be. You're like, oh no, I can't do that, so let me try to get back on track with my finances. But definitely, run the numbers, run the numbers, run the numbers. And of course, that credit, like I mentioned, is a key factor in all of this. And of course, the down payment, how much the home costs, etc. But they're going to ask about that money first. Like they're not going to waste any time with you, me, or the next person if the money or some type of program that's going to, give, that's going to provide all of these grants and give money. And most folks, they're not going to want to interact with you at all, period, and all, period. But yeah, renting or ownership, which is right for you, and only each and every one of us individually can answer that question. Obviously, no one else can answer that question for us, and no one needs to feel pressured into buying a home or anything like that just because they're siblings or their friends and all this other stuff. We have to get for the adult peer pressure. One would think we have to move away from the adult peer pressure that some people will put upon themselves. Yeah, not a good thing, not a good thing. Just because someone else can afford it or it appears as though they can afford it, then it is what it is. It could be just appearances. There was a show called Keeping Up Appearances. It was a British show. You all may be familiar with that. It could be just appearances. They may be over there toughing it out. They don't know how they're going to make the next mortgage payment, etc. They just don't know. And you don't know either. So just because they're in a home, that does not mean that all is well over there in that particular camp. And yeah, it is a 20 to 30-year commitment, or 15 if some people go 15. So yeah, that is some time. That is some time, and you have to think about that also into a person has to think about that also into. And then sometimes, as we all know, that people will stay in a place for a little bit, 3 to 5 years, or maybe 7 years, and then they move somewhere else, etc. And then some people just stay put the whole time. They don't want to take a chance on something. They don't want to take a chance on the market going up or down, if people are watching that. And the market does that each and every day. But with regards to the home value, they may want to get in a place where the values are just going up, 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 up all the time. And then by the time they buy, it starts to go down. And then it's like, what? They jinx themselves. But one never knows. One never knows. But overall, in my brain, uh, owning real estate is always a good thing, a good thing, a good thing over time for the many pros that I mentioned. And I mentioned some cons also into, and of course, we have this big internet here. You can go and look to see, of course, the pros and the cons. But with regards to legacy building, being able to tap into equity in your home. Of course, if the value goes up, then some equity is being built up in your home. Tapping into the equity to buy other rental property, either to put your kids in, and of course have them pay you rent, of course, or other tenants, etc. That thing, or to pay for college education, a whole host of things, a whole host of things. And the big thing in my brain right now is generational wealth, passing down the home to your children or children, etc. And like I said, for me, we want to make sure that our kids are, in the right mind frame. And I get it, it's a snapshot in time. They're in the right mind frame, this month, this year, etc. But next year, oh, they're out there, and all this other stuff, and you want to reel them back in, etc. Because you don't want the asset just to go to, your kid, and your kid is not, they're not responsible in any way, shape, form, or fashion. They may be responsible in some areas, but with regards to money and planning and personal finance, etc., they're not great at all, period. And they would just take the home and sell it, and then take the proceeds, etc. And that may not be what you want. But if you leave it to them and you are dead and gone, then that is out of your hands. Yeah. But, and of course, like I mentioned before, multi-generational people living in the one home along with you while you are still here. And once you are passed, your children live there, of course. And then if they have children, they live there. And like cousins or nieces or nephews or something or another, they come through for a period till they get on their feet, etc. That type of thing that I think happens in other communities. Not quite sure. I've heard of it. I don't know whether it actually happened in other communities also. But yeah, and I think the whole point of that is everyone helping each other and working together. That doesn't mean you come and live here for free. No, it does not mean that. Like I said, there will be rules and stuff, because you don't want the asset to become a shack, to just get run down so much that now you have to put a whole bunch of money into it to get it back to where it was, because you had all these folks come through that weren't paying rent, they were just taking advantage. You don't want that, and that can kill families also into. That can cause divide or divides in families also into. And of course, with different sectors, with different people within the families also into. It is crazy. Yes, the bills got to be paid. The bills got to be paid. Yes, the property taxes will still go on, depending on whether you own the land or not. The property taxes will still go on, wear and tear, the electricity, the utilities, all of the utilities will continue to go on, etc. Any HOA fees will go on. Maintenance of the house will still go on. Whether you contract it out or do it yourself, you still have to buy the material either which way. So yeah, just a lot of factors, just a lot of factors with regard to home ownership, and of course generational wealth or legacy building, passing it down, to the family, etc., or using it as a multi-generational family home, etc. All of those good things are great benefits to home owning. Yes, and don't talk about the plumbing. I don't want to talk about the plumbing because it may I don't want to talk up something. But yes, and those things can get expensive. Those things can get expensive over time. So just because they are living there, and some may get the idea just because they're living in a paid off home that these other things aren't continuing to go on or continuing to happen, etc. You're using the water every day. The pipes may need to be changed out. Things burst, things break, etc. All of that stuff needs to be changed out, whether it's a small expense or a large expense. Like the door handles, you may just want to change them for the look, or it may be they've been turned so many times and now they have worn out. They don't do what it is that they're supposed to do. You may have to do that. Yes, the grass, the trees, all the landscaping, all of that stuff needs to still happen when you own your home, and you can contract out these services, which is another expense for you. But if you want the time back or you can't do it yourself, then you're going to have to contract it out, because if you got an HOA, they're going to get after you with regards to that. Yeah, and in the generational home, if you can't do it, you're going to have to pay someone. So people have to know off rip that, hey, you're not staying here for free. Yes, this is the multi-generational home, but everyone that comes through here will pay. These are the rules. And sometimes it can get a little tricky with the rules because, somebody got a girlfriend or boyfriend. No, they're not coming here. No company, like in the older days. No company, no company, no company. And off on the side note with regards to that, and just like having a roommate if you're renting or something or another like that. If I was out here and I was, renting with another young lady or something, I'm not bringing any guy over there because we are two women. We are vulnerable already. So I'm not bringing my boyfriend over there, anything like that. We got to find something else to do, because I'm not going to endanger the other person that is there. You might be cool and okay with me, and then again, maybe not. I don't know. I'm just dating you. You never know. You never know. So don't set yourself up for that. If you are renting, young ladies and men, don't set yourself up for that, because you don't know the person that your roommate is dating. And if they're dating them, they are getting to know them also in two. They don't know them fully also in two. So you're putting your roommate in a vulnerable position where now this person, this male, has access to you and the other person and your home. Do not do it. Do not do it. Yes, gotta have rules. Gotta have rules. And so you can start dropping your links to Ask Billy Girl TV as I close out. As I close out. That's not done, folks. Not done, folks. So this live is sponsored by Rooted in Essential Oils. Rooted in Essential Oils. His link is in the chat, folks. His link is in the chat. Go and check him out. Go and check him out. Natural, folks. Natural. We love natural. Seems as though we're getting away from that a whole lot, and have gotten away from that for many, many, many years with regards to a whole host of things, food, all of these things. Natural plant-based products that he sells over there on his channel, folks. Also, he talks about, gives us information on how to best, like I mentioned before, utilize these products. Rooted in Essential Oils. His link is in the chat, folks. His link is in the chat. Also, he sells, they have healthy drinks also and too over there. And I had saw one of his videos, and then I forgot about it until he came to the live. And I was like, oh, they have those healthy drinks over there also and too that he sells. Please make sure you look and read that description code. I mean, the description box for a code where you can save some coins, over there on Rooted in Essential Oils. Rooted in Essential Oils. Check out his channel. The link is in the chat, folks. The link is in the chat. Check him out. Check him out. Check him out. Check him out. Yes, over there giving us training. Yes, and like I said, he goes live. He goes live at different times. But if you go to his channel, you will see the upcoming, and you will know what time it is in your time zone. You will know what it is. So, is home ownership or renting, which is right for you? Which is right for you? Everyone can decide for themselves. Everyone can decide for themselves, and whatever works for every individual person at any moment in time. And a lot of this is moment in times where if something is going on with you, your job is looking shaky, not the time, etc. Moments in time, which is right for you renting or own home ownership. Don't forget to check out my oh my goodness, can't talk. My community wall, check out my community wall playlist, all that good stuff. Cash into envelopes is my backup channel. Cash into envelopes is my backup channel. I'll be back tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Eastern Standard Time. Yes, hit that bell, hit that bell, hit that bell. And so, with that being said, this live was sponsored by Rooted in Essential Oils. Rooted in Essential Oils. His link is in the chat, folks. His link is in the chat. Take care. Bye bye.